Well, hello, EKN Nation. Welcome to a new edition of the EKN Debrief, episode number 135. It is Tuesday, August the 27th, 2024, getting to the end of the summer season here for 24. My name is Rob Howden, and we'll have David Cole doing most of the heavy lifting here today. As the event we're going to debrief is the 2024 Rotax Max Challenge U.S. Trophy Final. The event happening this past weekend at Newcastle Motorsports Park, the third edition of the race, bringing all the Rotax drivers from all over North America to come and race for tickets. We'll bring David in here momentarily, but let's start out by bringing in the presenting sponsor of today's show, Rawlson Performance Group. At the Rawlson Performance Group, we strive for ultimate success. We're more than just an arrive and drive race team with countless wins on the national and regional level. Our focus is on complete driver development, and that's where the success is fueled. We combine one-on-one coaching, on-track instruction, and intensive data debriefing with unparalleled kart and engine prep. Our program will help you raise your game. We'll take you to the next level. If that's your goal, RPG needs to be your next move. Experience the Rawlson difference. All right, David Cole, I know you're working hard all throughout the weekend. You got about another, 45 minutes to an hour to do right now because you're doing the heavy lifting here. I was out in the Pacific Northwest at the USF Pro Championships finale at Portland International Raceway over the weekend, but I kept a close eye on all the social media coverage that you're cranking out there. Lots of great stuff from Newcastle this past weekend.
Yeah, you were a little bit missed. I only heard a few times, "Where's Rob? Where's Rob? Where's
That's
Rob?"
good. That's
so,
good. That's nice.
Yeah, it was, again, the third edition of the 2024 Rotax Max Challenge U.S. Trophy Final held at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Again, where Rotax drivers from all across the U.S., from Canada, and from multiple other countries as well came to race and compete for 6 Rotax Grand Finals tickets around the line, but also to secure a victory at the essentially national championship for Rotax here in the United States. It was a bit comfortable weather until we got into Sunday, and that's when the heat wave has hit the Midwest region because it's hot here today. It was hot on Sunday, and thankfully we were done by on track by 1 o'clock. So unfortunately, the Racers Grill area had no air conditioning this weekend. So
Ouch.
A little bit of a warm inside area there this weekend. So not the usual coolness that was in there when we did our podiums, but again, a very fun and exciting way to end the event with the podium ceremonies there. And again, awarding 6 Grand Finals tickets this weekend.
If you listened to the Outlet Preview podcast last week, we talked about the fact that the event down quite a bit from where it was last year, essentially about 30% down, and primarily due to the fact that they did award some tickets to their East and West Trophy events, those series. So number of drivers already locked in. 72 drivers all told on the weekend. Micromax had 14. Actually, David, that's the largest Micromax field in the 3 years of this program at 14. It was 8 back in 2022, 12 last year, 14 Micromax drivers. And I think, listen, you and I, Dave, year in and year out, we talk about the fact that when you get good numbers in those cadet classes, especially micro, the younger drivers coming in, that means you got the future there, right?
We've seen the numbers there all season long from all the different programs where micro has strong numbers. And so it should be no different in Rotax, especially with Rotax Grand Finals tickets. So to be 11 years old and have a opportunity to go to Italy and race against 36? So 35 other drivers from around the world. Like there's no opportunity like that. So I think that's part of the reason. But again, micro, mini, those numbers continue to grow throughout the country.
Yeah, Mini Max was 9, Junior Max 18, 9 drivers in the Masters category, and 22, the largest class, was that kind of headline Senior Max category. All told, David, again, 72 entries. I'm sure they'll continue to fine-tune the program, but you look at the strength and the growth of the Trophy East and the Trophy West, and that's kind of the way Rotax continues to grow its foundation here on its return to kind of national prominence in the U.S.
Yeah, and you also have to factor in the time of the year. Certainly, they have to have this event done by the time for enough time for drivers to get licensed and passported up for the Rotax Grand Finals. And this year, the event's in October, which is an earlier time compared to years past. Normally it's in that November, December range. So you have the opportunity to go into September, maybe even the beginning of October, to try and host like the national or international events in your country. So the timetable is certainly skewed this year a little bit with that. And then you factor in all the other types of events that are happening in the US, especially this weekend alone. You had K1 Circuit, its first competition event at that new facility that's been one of the more anticipated racetracks to open up in the last 5 years.
No kidding.
You had Texas Sprint Racing Series down in Texas running with, over probably 150, if not more, entries at returning to a revised Dallas karting complex. So again, kind of a new racetrack for a lot of people. You had Cup Karts North America down the road in Whiteland, Route 66 in Road America. So there are a lot of different factors into why we didn't see an increase in numbers.
Yep.
You have the Miami Grand Nationals coming this weekend along with Rock Island. There's just the calendar, and that's one thing we heard throughout the paddock this weekend. The calendar is just too packed. There's just way too much racing going on, too many events, and hopefully we'll see in 2025 kind of a streamlined to kind of decrease the number of events around the country.
I don't see it.
A few, I can guarantee there'll be a few less events regionally, nationally for sure next year. I mean, obviously we've already seen USPKS drop to 4 for next year. I think there's going to be a couple other programs that won't be adding, but they'll either stay or the amount of events they have. So we'll see. Hopefully.
Yeah, indeed. So there's your by the numbers. We got things underway. Our first break of the action, we get back. David's going to give us a little bit of information away from the racetrack as we have our segment called the Paddock Pass. Check out any major national karting event, and what's the common thread? Speed Concepts Racing. Up front, in every class, every weekend. The Speed family has been at the forefront of American karting for over 25 years. And Speed Concepts Racing is the sole dedication of Father Mike Speed and his multi-time championship-winning son Alex Speed. This program is all about passion for the sport and a dedication to winning. They know how to get it done. If you're a senior driver ready to put yourself amongst the best in the country, Speed Concepts Racing is the program for you. We can win the big races. You just need to be in the seat. The Speeds program has delivered time over time in the junior classes as well, helping to elevate a long list of young drivers from mid-pack to potential race winners. Speed Concepts Racing has the perfect equation of coaching, driver development, and technical knowledge to elevate your program. Arrive and drive opportunities are available for the remainder of the 2023 season, and we're locking in seats for 2024 as well. If you're ready to take your career to the next level, contact Speed Concepts Racing through email at speedconceptsracing@gmail.com. Winning takes top quality equipment, flawless preparation, experienced coaching, and passion. And at Team GFC, we live our passion. Developed by American karting champion Gary Carlton, the GFC chassis has become one of the newest brands to reach the top of the podium in North America. GFC has garnered victories and championships at all levels of the sport since its debut at the end of 2018. Shifter car drivers are at the front of the field in the GT14 frame, with the SS31 a consistent contender in tag and 100cc competition. Team GFC has arrive and drive packages available for all categories, including the mini and micro classes utilizing the GFC RR5 cadet chassis. These young pilots have the opportunity to be part of the Team GFC Young Driver Development Program. Learn from one of the best American karters with 28 years racing at the highest levels of the sport, offering personalized training on and off the track. Follow GFC Karting on Facebook and Instagram, or click over to gfckarting.com to learn more about joining Team GFC. GFC, live your passion. Welcome back to our 135th episode of the Debrief, our race report podcast. They're all part of our EKN Trackside Live coverage. David Cole with Trackside at Newcastle Motorsports Park last weekend for this year's U.S. Trophy Final for the Race Rotax program. We'll dive now into the Paddock Pass section presented by the Skip Barber Racing School. Are you looking for the next step in racing? Go from karts to cars with the Skip Barber Racing School. Skip Barber alumni are champions in every motorsports series, including Formula One, NASCAR, IMSA, and IndyCar. Get behind the wheel of a Skip Barber Formula 4 car featuring a 160 horsepower turbocharged engine. Our highly structured and competitive Skip Barber Formula Race Series is the perfect platform to start your racing career, so you can fulfill your dream of becoming a champion. With equalized race cars and a focus on driver development, your driving skills will determine if you end up in victory lane. Learn more about the Skip Barber Racing School at skipbarber.com or call 866-932-1949. All right, David, lots going on down there. Even before kind of the wheel-to-wheel racing happened, let's kind of work our way through the segments of the Paddock Pass.
Yeah, something we didn't put online, but wanted to talk about here in the podcast was the absence of Brandon Carr. Brandon Carr was there this weekend. Actually suffered a rib injury in Canada at the Canadian Karting Championships, racing up there. Got back to Charlotte, flew over to Tillett in the UK, home, got a fitting for a new rib tech or rib protector.
Yeah,
flew not even there 24 hours, flew back to Charlotte, and then flew directly into Indianapolis to get to Newcastle. Got to the racetrack Friday morning, did one session, was not able to continue, just in a little too much pain. So elected to sit out and try and be ready for this weekend, where he's going to be racing two classes at Trackhouse Motorplex for the Grand National Championships.
Yeah. Wow.
So
okay.
That'll be something to kind of keep following over
Indeed.
this weekend, and of course in the weeks to come with his role in with Trinity Karting Group and in the United States Pro Kart Series finale still ahead in at the end of September. So that'll be story to watch.
Listen, we've seen rib injuries obviously decimate some fields before. And again, we talked about the fact that, Danny Formal wasn't able to run the SKUSA Summer Nats because of it. It's just something that happens to drivers. And David, I've had one. You've had one. It's one of those things when you get it, you really got to have to sit on the sidelines and wait. At least Brandon's young. It won't take as long as it did for us to heal, for sure.
Yeah, thankfully I'm not in the seat that much, so when I do get it, I have plenty of time.
Yeah, we have a whole year
to
recover. What else you got for the Paddock Pass?
Yeah, so also part of the U.S. Trophy Final was the XGEL Driver Exchange Program that began with the U.S. Trophy West program, where they sent Griffin Dowler and Jackson Porter, and Nick Eggleston was supposed to go but was unable to due to scheduling conflicts. And those drivers went over. So Porter and Dowler went over to race in Japan at one of their Rotax Max Challenge events over there. And in return, 3 drivers from that program came over and raced here at the U.S. Trophy Final. One in Mini, that was Izuki Hayashi in Mini, Rousseau Sawada in Junior, and Quentin Liu, actually a driver from China, in the senior category. So those 3 drivers were racing under the J3 Comp Kart tent all weekend, and it was great. They had a few photographers with them, their family with them. Looked like they really enjoyed their time here at Newcastle. Got to tour Indianapolis Motor Speedway. There's actually, if you go to Race Rotax on YouTube page, there is a video featuring all 3 drivers and their trip here.
Nice. That's awesome stuff. Well, one of the things about Newcastle Motorsports Park is you're going to be able to draw some of the local teams, local drivers to come out to really any and all event. Some come to some don't do that. One of the more local teams over at Whiteland is MPG Motorsports, David. And I know they were trackside as well.
Yeah, and they've been a follower of the Rotax program over the last couple of years, with Race Liberante kind of leading that with MPG Motorsports. They had a number of drivers competing in the West program. They had a handful of drivers competing in the East Trophy program, and then 4 drivers at the Trophy Final to wrap things up. They already had Gage Korn earning a ticket to the Rotax Grand Finals through the West program in the Junior Max category. So MPG is going to be present once again at the Grand Finals last year, having both Korn and Race Liberante there last year. So that's, again, MPG, they're kind of into everything. They had a part of their crew up at Route 66. I believe maybe a couple drivers maybe racing at the CKNA race at their home track in Whiteland as well. So again, that's a team that does a lot of club racing, a lot of regional racing, and still goes out to some of the national programs to compete again at the top level. So not to mention Billy Vincent, the owner over in Portland with you, I believe, working with Elliot Cox and maybe a couple
Austin Olds as well.
And Austin Olds, okay.
Yeah, they were all out in Portland with us. So yeah, indeed, MPG Motorsports really have their hand in a lot of different programs, which is really obviously a huge thing for them. They've grown so much over the last couple of years. Very impressive. David, let's talk about 5 drivers of Team USA competing at the event.
Yeah, with the U.S. Trophy East and Trophy West programs providing tickets to the Rotax Grand Finals, a total of 6, 3 in the West, 3 in the East. We did have some drivers on hand competing with already a ticket in hand and going to be racing for Team USA. That included John Bonanno in Masters Max, Jackson Porter in Mini, Wesley Gundler in Senior, and Cooper O'Clair in Senior, but also in the Senior category. Earning his ticket actually at the Canada Open event in Quebec was Oliver Hodgson. Now, you're saying to yourself, Team USA, Oliver Hodgson, how? No way. Well, he confirmed over the weekend that he does have a USA license, going to be racing. He resides here in the U.S., going to be racing for Team USA this year after racing last year with his Great Britain team, where he's born and raised from. But he felt compelled to be with Team USA, knowing a lot of the drivers, being able to work with them, and hopefully trying to be a match what Ben Cooper has been able to do, which is winning for 2 different countries at the Rotax Grand Finals.
Yeah, Ben Cooper with Team Canada as well. David, one of the things I did see, I know that you guys had posted it and they were posting it to their social media as well, was Race Lab, which is the North American importer for the TB kart chassis. They were actually there trackside working with one of their local dealers in Newcastle.
Yeah, we had an article on them earlier this year with Speed Tech Racing, kind of the Midwest dealer for the TB kart under the Race Lab dealer network. Speed Tech's been a program kind of focused at the Newcastle Motorsports Park and their KRA championship program there, featuring a number of different drivers in different categories there, all on the TB kart. This weekend, they played host with 2 Race Lab, who brought in Dalton Haynes once again in the Senior Max category. And then the Bermuda driver, I didn't write his name down.
Brian Bullhouse.
Brian Bullhouse, I knew you'd know it, from Bermuda, racing in the Masters Max category. So, Race Lab, that's kind of what they've been doing all season long, working with all the different dealers and to provide tent space and that for their drivers at the national level.
Very nice. Now, you got a note here, David. Give me the scoop on Race Rotax implementing a new grid fuel. What's that all about?
Do you remember last year how they fueled up drivers prior to the race on the grid? Do you remember kind of like the pump around system?
Well, I don't, because I was over in the announcers booth. I didn't see that.
Well, you should have known that because, a good reporter would know that. So.
Well, you're the reporter, David. I'm the announcer. It's a different thing.
And you should have known that. Anyway. Yeah, so last year, I think
your reporter hat on to do your job.
I think it started with just the main events last year, where they had they would select a couple of the categories and have them come to grid with an empty fuel tank.
All right.
And fill up their fuel tanks for them at the grid prior to going out to compete. Well, in the pre-finals, they did the top 5 in every category but Masters Max, and in the main event, they did every category for the top 10 except for Masters Max. So kind of a way to in a way doing it's almost like a Parc Fermé style thing where that, because that's one of the things that we kept hearing on the weekend was certain elements getting into certain people's fuels. And again, so that was kind of their way of trying to police that, working with the top 5 drivers in the pre-finals and then the full top 10 going into the main event. So again, the spec program, everybody's trying to find every little bit they possibly can. Certainly fuel is one of them. And so Race Rotax, making sure everybody's on the level playing field in terms of fuel.
I like it. I hate to hear that people are messing with fuel, because that is obviously something that has been done in the past. It's not a good thing at all. So yeah, I like it. It's a good call for them. Obviously, I'm sure people in that category, those categories, are feeling good, realizing that they're on like you said, the same level playing field in terms of fuel. All right, folks, another break. When we get back, time to dive into the race report. We've got Senior Max and Junior Max lined up. David's going to walk us through everything that happened trackside at this year's trophy final. In karting, it's important to be supported by the right people. With over 40 years of experience in the sport, Trinity Karting Group has everything you need to make your program successful. We do it all, and we do it right. We offer trackside support and arrive and drive programs at many of karting's biggest East Coast events, full product sales and service, and professional coaching from our experienced staff. Trinity Karting Group is a full-service operation based at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, which gives us access to our custom-designed driver training facility. This allows us to offer one-on-one coaching to take you to the next level. From arrive and drive and coaching programs to the parts you need, let Trinity Karting Group provide you with customer service and a racing experience second to none. Trinity Karting Group is an official Kart Republic race team, providing full trackside support at all the major USA karting events, including the SCUSA Pro Tour, United States Pro Kart Series, the SCUSA Super Nationals, and other events throughout the season. TKG has Kart Republic, IAME, MG Novinco tires, and more products in stock for those in Ohio and the Midwest region. Trinity Karting Group has a long history in the sport, a winning pedigree, and we're dedicated to driver development. We take pride in our professional approach and our positive attitude. Let us build a custom race program for you. Give us a call at 513-421-4463 or check us out online at trinitykartinggroup.com. Established in 1999, PSL Karting has become a powerhouse within the karting industry for North America and around the world. PSL Karting is your complete source for all Burrell Art products as the North American importer, providing this top quality product through both their expansive dealer network or through the PSLkarting.com online store. Whatever you need is available 24/7 online, including safety gear, parts, components, and full karting packages. All three brands, Burrell Art, Ricardo Kart, and Charles Leclerc karts, are in stock and ready to hit the track. Grab your winning chassis for any category by visiting PSLkarting.com to find your nearest dealer. PSL Karting is always looking for interest in new dealers and teams to help create new business relationships. Drivers looking to take their talents to the next level can join the Burrell Art North America race team, competing at all the major US and Canadian events this season. When you're ready to win, go with PSL Karting. Back at it here with an EKN debrief. David Cole and Rob Howden here. We're diving into the US Trophy Final from Newcastle Motorsports Park this past weekend, lining up all the drivers for Team USA and some other national teams as well. Time to dive into the race report, though, for all the categories that were on track at that event. This race report presented by Comet Kart Sales. History, success, family. These are the three words that describe Comet Kart Sales, one of the longest tenured karting businesses in the United States. The family-owned operation is located just outside Indianapolis and has provided karts, parts, and services for thousands of racers in the near 6 decades of business. Their brand new, updated online store features everything you need, and they are continually adding new parts to their product line. Make sure you head over to CometKartSales.com or call them at 317-462-3413 to be part of the Comet Kart Sales family today. All right, David, let's dive into the categories here. As always, I'll throw out the headline. You can fill in the news after that. We'll start with the Senior Max category, and here is the headline. Hodgson grabs 3rd straight.
It was nearly a weekend sweep for the British driver now racing under the USA license, as we mentioned earlier, for Oliver Hodgson. The only session he didn't finish first was in qualifying, and then that is when Diego Ramos, the Brazilian driver, already holding a ticket, through the Rotax Winter Trophy program, set a 103.594, which was roughly 0.2 quicker than last year's time set by Oliver Hodgson, which is very similar to the lap time he put down this year. But again, Ramos taking fast time in that session. Well, when it got to heat racing, it was all Oliver Hodgson. He was able to drive away to the wins in both heat races. And again, every category having 2 heat races. Those 2 heat races would set the grid for the pre-final at the end of Saturday. There it was Hodgson again over Ramos. So it was Hodgson, Ramos, and both heat races and the pre-final. So really it was a battle for third, which included a handful of drivers with tickets and some without. So it was kind of, that's where we were watching a little bit of everything, because Hodgson and Ramos had such an advantage over the rest of the field, especially on Saturday. Timothy Pernard, the Canadian, had finished third in the opening heat race, while Cooper Auclair finished third in the second heat race. Both of those drivers holding tickets already to the Rotax Grand Finals. But in the pre-final, it was Jensen Burnett making his senior debut on the weekend, moving up into the third spot. So he started from inside row 2 for the main event. And when the green flag waved for the race, it was Oliver Hodgson getting away early to a pretty sizable lead while they were fighting for the second spot over the opening couple of laps. That included Ramos and Burnett kind of going back and forth. Eventually, it was Jensen taking over the position as Ramos slipped back. It looked like the pace was gone. I did not find out what it was that happened, but the pace went away, and eventually he retired from the event. So it's kind of a tough break for Ramos, but already a ticket in hand. So it was merely a kind of a practice weekend for him going forward. So with that, Hodgson had a massive lead, essentially just got quicker and quicker as the race went on, drove away to victory, his third straight victory at the event, winning by over 5 seconds. But it was the race for second that was exciting and fun to watch. You had Burnett running second for a majority of the race, but on the charge was Dalton Haynes. Haynes started back in the 8th position. He was coming along with the Chinese driver, Quentin Liu, both coming up from 8th and 9th position. They were able to run down Burnett. It didn't seem like there was going to be anything that was going to happen. It didn't look like a position was going to happen. Position change was going to happen. And then Haynes just kind of threw it in deep one corner, kind of catching Burnett off guard. That was just enough for Haynes and Liu to get by, along with Timothy Pernard getting through as well. And that was with 2 laps to go. And that was kind of the deciding factor for the runner-up position, as Haynes was able to take the position. And with Hodgson already holding a ticket, that gave Dalton Haynes, the runner-up, the ticket to the Rotax Grand Finals for the Senior Max division, while Quentin Liu, finishing third, would have received the DD2 ticket. However, he declined because he still has races in Japan where he wants to race and earn a ticket to the Senior Max category and not DD2. Okay. And thus, go ahead.
Oh, no, okay. Yep.
Yep. And so with Timothy Pernard finishing 4th, already holding a ticket, obviously that passes down to Jensen Burnett, who came across the line in 5th. So the Canadian finishing 5th earns a ticket to the DD2 category at the Rotax Grand Finals.
Wow. All right, then. Okay. A lot of action going on. I like it. All right. Well, we'll see what did you get a chance to talk to Haynes? Is he actually going to take the ticket this year?
That's the goal. Yeah. Last year there was a scheduling conflict. He had an opportunity to do some car testing. That's kind of been his focus this year. He's doing a lot of late model racing, but as of right now, the plan is to go.
All right. Let's move to the Junior Max class. And here's the headline. Roberts earns Grand Finals ticket, Rotax Grand Finals ticket with last lap move. Fill me in on this one.
Yeah, it's great racing in the Junior Max category all weekend long. A number of drivers kind of in the mix, especially in the main event. You had, at one point, it was probably like 6 or 7 drivers, but it kind of went down to a 2-man show there at the end. To begin the weekend, Isaac Malcutt, last year racing Mini Max, finishing in the 3rd position. set fast time in qualifying with a 105.273, which is just about 1/10 quicker than last year's time, set by Diego Ardiles. In the 2 heat races, Nix Eggleston, last year's Team USA member, was able to get the victory over Malkit, while Malkit would return the favor in Heat 2, taking the race win. So it was Malkit on the pole position for the pre-final. Unfortunately, an issue with leaving the choke on faulted his performance and eventually would retire from the race with no full power. So he fell back all the way to the tail of the field, was unable to continue with obviously not the same pace he had before. So up front, Nix Eggleston went on to take the win in the pre-final over Sawada, the driver from Japan, with Jackson Gibson finishing in the 3rd position. As the main event began, you kind of had a 3 drivers kind of taking the lead over a couple of laps. You had Eggleston, Davin Roberts up from, I think it was the 5th position. And then Sawada, the Japanese driver, actually showing really good pace and leading for a pretty good amount of time during the main event for probably about 4 or 5 laps. And then Roberts as well, too, leading as well. So it was a good kind of little battle between those 3 drivers. Eventually, however, it was Eggleston and Roberts that were able to kind of break away as Sawada kind of lost the draft from the top 2, kind of got swallowed up by the rest of the second pack. And so it was essentially a 2-driver fight for the lead. It looked like it was Eggleston's to have. It really did, because it didn't look like Roberts had anything for him in the closing laps. That was, however, until the last couple of corners. I don't know what it was, but Roberts just went in a little bit deeper in the last couple turns. And then as they came up to the turn by the grid, the left-hander there after the tech building, he basically just made a bold move, went in deep, kind of caught Eggleston, I think, a little off guard, as I don't think he was expecting to see Roberts there, as he kind of knew where the gap was, but Roberts just threw it in, got to the apex, caught Eggleston off guard. Eggleston kind of went off wide, trying not to make contact. This gave Roberts the clear path to the lead and through to the checkered flag to score the victory in a great move and earn what could have been a Rotax Grand Finals ticket already with the East Championship, but secured it with the win in the U.S. Trophy Final.
Man, just over a 10th across the line. Roberts with the win. Eggleston 2nd. Malkit back up to 3rd. Antoine Lemieux in 4th, and Cole Medeiros rounding out the top 5. Sounds like some action there in the final lap. I love last lap passes. I think that's what we like about Newcastle. Always kind of lines up, David, to that last lap battle, right? In that reverse direction, for sure. Malkit, it was a great drive for him coming from the back of the field, starting in the 14th or 15th position. And I think if you gave him a couple more laps, or if he would have got a couple more passes done earlier, he could have been in the mix, because he was one of the quickest drivers, certainly on the racetrack. So Sawada actually ended up crossing the line in the 5th position, but was given penalty for contact. So that dropped him out of the top 5, but Cole Medeiros into the 5th position. All right, folks, to the break here. We'll get back into the race report brought to you by Comet Kart Sales. We'll go Masters Max, Mini Max, and Micro. We'll cap off the final 3 categories of the 5-class lineup from this year's trophy final. Don't go anywhere. More to come. In this day and age, if you need something for your karting program, it's just one mouse click away. One of the leading online stores in the sport of karting is tsracing.com. The Florida-based company has been serving the karting community for decades. TS Racing is one of the few kart shops with technical expertise in all divisions of karting. TS Racing's online superstore features a full range of the products you need to start karting today, or to restock your garage or trailer for the racing season. TS Racing is also the official distributor for Vega tires. For dirt, road racing, sprint, and the most popular 4-cycle tire with Cup Karts North America, a wide range of Vega compounds and sizes are available for your karting needs. Head over to tsracing.com today or call 352-793-9600 to learn more about the Vega tire brand or the many products that they have at TS Racing. The new face of competitive karting in the Pacific Northwest region is RaceLab. The full-service karting operation is located at the state-of-the-art Kartplex facility in Oliver, British Columbia, Canada, providing everything you need to hit the track or put yourself in a successful driver development program. RaceLab is the official North American distributor for the TB Kart chassis brand, providing the full range of models from kid kart to shifter kart. Villeneuve Racing Karts is their flagship product, available only through RaceLab. The brand carries the name of Formula One champion and Indianapolis 500 winner Jacques Villeneuve, with each model produced by TB Kart. Kartplex, the home of RaceLab, is situated on the grounds of the Area 27 Motorsports Park. From full arrive and drive TB Kart rentals to leagues and competition karting, the facility provides a new home to developing the future stars of motorsports, all beginning at Kartplex with RaceLab. Follow RaceLab on social media on Facebook and Instagram, or load up their website at www.theracelab.ca to learn more about TB Kart and Villeneuve Racing Karts. RaceLab. Race with us, win with us. Welcome back to the EKN Debrief here, number 135, as David Cole taking a deep dive for us into the U.S. Trophy Final, which happened just past weekend at Newcastle Motorsports Park for the Race Rotax program. Masters Mini and Micro Max race reports coming up for you here. David, let's go into Masters Max. Here's the headline. Mardan triumphs with first win in 3 tries.
Yeah, the Masters Max category has been fun to watch over the last 3 editions of the U.S. Trophy Final. One of them there every year has been Laurentiu Mardan, finishing 3rd one year and 2nd in the other. So exactly. It's been very close to getting that Rotax Grand Finals ticket. Started off the event well with fast time in qualifying, a 105.127. So that put him on the pole position for the 2 heat races. However, it was John Bonanno, the U.S. Trophy East champion, who was able to essentially have the better pace in the heat races, getting by Mardan in both of instances to be able to win both races, with Mardan finishing 2nd and Christopher Mann, one of the West competitors, finishing in 3rd in both heat races. The pre-final, again, same finishing order. Bonanno 1st, Mardan 2nd, Mann 3rd, but Mardan actually fell back to, I want to say, almost 9th. Or at least 7th at one time, but was able to fight his way back up into the 2nd spot as Bonanno went on to take the win with Mann in the 3rd spot. Fast forward to Sunday and the main event. Again, Bonanno out to the lead. Mardan kind of following in 2nd for majority of the race. Eventually got some pressure from Christopher Mann, and that's when Mardan kind of pulled the trigger. Went by Bonanno on lap 13. Taking over the lead. And then from there, essentially they ran 1, 2, 3. It looked like Bonanno had opportunities, but didn't want to try and force anything, not ruin anything for both Mardan or himself, even though Mann was sitting there putting on the pressure. But Mann just not quite enough to be able to get around Bonanno for any kind of a position change and be able to challenge Mardan for that race win, as Mardan would go on to take the victory by 1/10 of a second.
Yeah, good for Laurentiu Mardan. Again, like you said, 3rd, 2nd, finally getting that victory. Oh, so close the first couple of years. And I obviously got a chance to see, you were posting up all the scale winner videos, which I absolutely love. And you could see that Larry was pretty pumped about that one. Again, good for Laurentiu Mardan for getting that win there and getting the chance to head to the Rotax Grand Finals. Shout out to Ben Cruttenden, who finished in the 4th spot. Ray Bannock rounding out the top 5. Good stuff for Mardan. Let's go down to the Mini Max category. Headline.
I was going to say.
Are we changing our format here?
No. I wasn't done yet. I thought you were going to get run through the top 5 and give me a second there to talk something. I just wanted to say.
We never do that.
Should it be not for the driver error? Many errors that Cruttenden had. That Perlin was pretty fast. Because he was right there with those guys all weekend long. Didn't make the 2nd heat race. Just too kind of old. And but in pre-final and final, like, he was right there. That thing was fast. So Henry, being from Wales in the UK, knew the Cruttenden family the names, so he was pumping them up. But Ben kept making the errors and wasn't able to really do anything. Now, because of the way the ticket were going to be handed out, you had to be an East or a West competitor to get the ticket.
Oh,
so they knew that going in. Yeah, just in the Masters category, they knew that going in, but they still wanted to kind of him and Billy McLaughlin, who's Super Tune, wanted to compete for the victory. Billy just got kind of old and wasn't able to really get the cart where he wanted it to be. Showed a couple of glimmers of being fast, but couldn't be as consistent as Mardan and Bonanno were. It's funny. I talked to Mardan after the race, off the interview that we did, and he says, "Man, I've been putting a lot of physical fitness into this program, and maybe that'll help him in the long run because I think he's getting a little bit better." He knows the Rotax program very well. So we'll see. He's done DD2 before over in Romania when he goes home to his native country, but a good addition to Team USA this year.
Well, and shout out for them too as well. Technokart USA, right? His program. So always good to put the chassis on top as well. We're just thinking about selling material as well.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Big one. All right. So now we're into Minimax. Trust me, folks, at the end of the notes, we're going to take a very significant pause to see if David decides he has a little more to ask or offer, but he doesn't do it in the middle of the show. Here's your Minimax headline. Porter takes victory as Vitor earns ticket.
Yeah, great racing in the Minimax category all weekend long with multiple drivers in the hunt. Beginning of the weekend was now I forget which which Katowski it is. Hold on, I got to pull up. Sorry, I'm pulling up the result. Nico. It's Nico in the Minimax category. Nico Katowski, the J&M Sody Kart driver, setting fast time with a 109.093 to set fast time in the time session and start both heat races from the pole position. Didn't quite get the win in the opening heat with Newcastle driver William Vitor taking the win ahead of Katowski with Jackson Porter in third, while in the second heat, Katowski was able to take the win as Porter finished second. However, a penalty for contact dropped him down the order, putting Vitor up there with I'm going to try Olivier said
Olivier Chassé.
Olivier Chassé. There we
go.
go. Olivier Chassé. You didn't let me have it. I was going to try it.
You stuttered. You stopped.
I did. I was trying to catch my breath there. All right. It's like my racing, man. I got to catch my breath every once in a while.
All right.
Got to get used to it. And we're going to be out of breath all weekend long.
Because you're old.
I am.
Yeah. You don't know old.
Anyway, Katowski was able to win the pre-final ahead of Jackson Porter and Chassé, right?
Chassé. Yep.
Chassé.
Not Chassé.
Chassé.
Yeah. That's what I think. I might be wrong too.
French in high school, but we didn't have French.
No. Let's talk about the main event.
Main event time. Again, a good battle. Top four drivers right there. You had Porter, you had Vitor, you had Katowski, and Chassé all right there. It seemed like Porter and Vitor were going to work together because that's exactly what they did. Porter coming in with a grand finals ticket already in hand, was the fast driver on Fast Friday, but just missed it in qualifying and didn't really force anything all day on Saturday. And certainly got that penalty, so kind of hurt him as well too, but put himself up to the lead. Vitor in second, and that's essentially how they ran for the majority of the main event. Katowski and Chassé were right there, just not really able to do anything. And then they started fighting for third in the final lap. So Porter the victory and Vitor the second position. And with Porter holding a grand finals ticket already, giving the Rotax grand finals ticket for the Minimax category at the U.S. Trophy Final to William Vitor.
There you have it. Vitor with the ticket. Porter winning by just over about a tenth and a half. Vitor second, as we said, on the Alonso. Katowski on the Sody Kart third. Olivier Chassé on the Kart Republic in fourth. And Luke Kajanapatak on the Parolin, rounding out the top five. David, anything else?
No, just your typical cadet race. Push the leader out and get away, and that's how you're going to finish.
Well, that's what you hope if you're on the sidelines, right? Like, guys, just work together and pull away. But it hasn't always been that case throughout the year. All the races I've been at, like, man, People have not played that strategy we've seen win races over the last 20 years.
Especially in the Micromax division.
100%. Yeah, it's been crazy. All right, we'll wrap things up with Micromax. The headline, Becker goes 4th to 1st to steal Rotax Grand Finals ticket. Tell me about this one.
Yeah, again, these guys know working together, lots of passing for the lead over and over and over again. Qualifying, Lucas Tarango, the driver from the West, set a 1:11.072, which is nearly 2 seconds quicker than last year. But I think don't have that confirmed, but I'm pretty sure they were on the new cylinder that was out. So I think that has something to do with that. Now, I'm not sure if there was a different tire compound from last year or not, but I didn't know that till I started writing the script. So interesting to see them. The micros getting a lot quicker, but still, what are they? 2 seconds slower than the micro. Then that's part of the restrictors they do have on the engine. In the opening heat, it was Hudson Howard, the son of Jay Howard, taking the win ahead of Tarango, with Paxton Romero in third. And then everything kind of shuffled around in the second heat with Francisco Puerta, the driver for RPM on the Nitro kart, taking the win in the second heat ahead of Howard, with Win Godshock up to the third position. In the pre-final, it was Godshock who put up the good performance, was able to cross the line first. However, penalty for contact, or I believe it was a pushback bumper, dropped him all the way down to, I want to say, the 9th position, because the field was so close. That pushback bumper really hurt him in the pre-final. So went from starting on the pole to starting on the inside of row 5, as Howard was given the pole position with Paxton Romero on the outside of the front row. And again, this race saw a 6-driver lead pack, 4 different leaders over the course of 14 laps. So a lot of exchange for position. Nice. Guys going. Essentially what it was is everybody wanted to lead, and that's essentially how it kind of went. Towards the end, it was Win Godshock taking the lead and was leading at the white flag as they were racing their way through the final circuit. Cam Becker, who really wasn't doing anything all weekend long, was just kind of hanging right there all weekend, made a great move around the double left-handers at the far end of the racetrack after Cell Tower. On the outside, passed from 4th to 2nd in a great move. So held the outside line, was able to do that. As they came down towards the tech building, well, Godshock went defensive, as they are obviously taught more and more these days. Even though Becker wasn't really on his bumper, but just timed it just right, where he was close enough to kind of pull an over-under and really just shoot out of the tech barn corner like a rocket. And by the time they got to the next left-hander, was in the lead. And that was the winning move, as Becker essentially went from 4th to 1st in 2 corners to be able to take the victory and the Rotax Grand Finals ticket to be the Team USA driver for Micromax. That
is an exciting final lap for sure. Becker ends up winning by just under 0.2 of a second. Godshock second, Paxton Romero third, Francisco Puerto in 4th, and Lucas Tarango coming back in the 5th. Sounds like, David, when you get a good battle like that up front, you're just going to have it all race long, and it comes down to the final lap. See what happens.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Becker wasn't there. He was there, but not really doing anything. Yeah. Not again, no top 3 finishes in the heat or the pre-final. Was just kind of hanging there, just maybe just sizing everybody up for Sunday.
That's it.
Sunday, Cam Becker.
All right, let's have one last break, folks. We get back, we'll wrap things up. We'll look at the Constructors' Championship, and of course, wrapping it all up with the EKN Trackside Live Race Calendar. We'll tell you where we're going to be for the next month. Don't go anywhere. We'll cap off this edition of the Debrief after this break. A leading name in high-performance engines is D2 Motors. Owned and operated by karting champion Danilo Ramalho, D2 Motors can power you to the top of the podium. D2 Motors has been servicing karters in North America since 2019 and is opening its doors to teams and drivers across the national and local racing circuits. D2 Motors is offering access to superior engine technology designed to elevate performance on the track. There is no engine platform that D2 Motors has not excelled at. They are a leading Rotax service center, along with developing championship-winning power for the IAME and Rock brands. If you are seeking a competitive edge and reliability, partner with D2 Motors today. Call 954-895-6334 or visit D2 Motors Official on social media. D2 Motors, come and join the power with us. Prepare for the adrenaline with the best handcrafted materials in karting today. That is the guarantee that Croc Promotion Chassis provides to you. Available here in the U.S. by Croc Promotion USA. Owned by karting industry veteran Ivan Bodnar, Croc Promotion USA is the importer for the European manufactured brand that has been making history since 2017. Croc Promotion is riding into 2024, celebrating 2 victories in the IAME Warrior Final with Collie Atkinson Sr. and Harry Bartle in junior competition. That same chassis for senior and junior drivers is available here from Croc Promotion USA, along with their KZ shifter kart model, 28mm Cadet, Kid Kart chassis, and the 4-cycle version for the North American market. Croc Promotion USA has dealers reaching the West Coast, Texas region, and the Midwest, and is looking to add to its network in 2024. Visit crocpromotion.us to learn more about the chassis brand and to become our newest dealer. Croc Promotion, born to ride, ride to live. Welcome back to our EKN Debrief as we wrap up our report on the U.S. Trophy Final, the Race Rotax event at Newcastle Motorsports Park this past weekend. Drivers out there getting tickets to go to the Rotax Grand Finals. David, let's wrap things up. What are your thoughts, final thoughts on the event that you attended this past weekend?
Well, this weekend, the Newcastle Motorsports track was good air, with the Rotax engines. Yep. Jetting is a big thing. So we had some good air. I think Sunday was terrible towards the end of the day, especially when everybody was packing up. But up until that point, pretty good conditions. And again, it's great in the morning, so in the afternoon, and then really greasy at the end of the day. So a safe weekend, no red flags. So the ambulance did not move. I don't think we had any really major incidents. I think in qualifying, I think the only major incident was Billy McLaughlin and Ben Crittenden getting together themselves. So other than that, no major incidents. So it was good. And again, with 6 tickets up for grabs on the weekend, we had 5 drivers from the United States taking those. And so those 5 drivers added to make up 13 drivers in total right now for Team USA. Not competing this weekend, but already tickets in hand. Turner Brown with the Rotax Winter Trophy ticket for Junior Max. Enzo Di Janeiro with a Mini Max ticket from the U.S. Trophy East program. And as I mentioned earlier before, Gage Korn winning a ticket in the U.S. Trophy West program for Junior Max. So again, we'll have full coverage, full preview of Team USA and the event, the Rotax Grand Finals, which is set for October 19th through the 26th in Sarno, Italy. So again, we'll have full coverage and full preview of the event leading up to that week.
Let's have a look at the Constructors Championship. I don't know if we've ever had this, but David, 5 different brands for 5 wins. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think maybe this event last year, what it might have been I have to confirm that. But yeah, five brands picking up the victory. Comp Kart with Oliver Hodgson. Cosmic Kart actually for Davin Roberts, even though he had a Tony Kart wheel, it was a Cosmic chassis. I love that when they do that. Techno Kart with Laurentiu Mardan Parolin for Jackson Porter, and the Race Factory chassis for Cam Becker.
There you have it. Let's have a look at the EKN Trackside Live race calendar presented today by DID Chain. Since 1993, DID has been designing and manufacturing high-quality chains that are chosen and utilized by the world's best power sports athletes and is the winningest chain brand in the industry. From the hairpin turns of MotoGP to the local circle track and everywhere in between, DID has a chain offering for all levels of power sports that are designed to outlast and outperform the competition. DID also offers various levels of 4-pitch and 5-pitch change to fit your drive chain needs. With over 90 years of experience, stay driven with DID. All right, David, let's have a look at our EKN Trackside Live race counter to cap off this edition of the Debrief. Actually, I feel like we're taking a little bit of a breather. Yeah, we're going to Rock Island this coming weekend. That's going to be a ton of fun. Both you and I getting a chance to race once again with the Margay Ignite family, August 31st, September 1st, a Saturday, Sunday event for Rock Island, as we know. And then you got a couple weeks off before you're heading back on the road to cap off this year's USPKS series at the Indiana Grand Prix.
Yeah, again, excited to head to Rock Island this weekend. It'll be my 19th time heading there with no event in 2020. So excited. I think this is my 11th time racing. I'll have to double check all that for our outlap tomorrow. But the new racetrack. That's, I think, the biggest thing is it's going to be a clean slate for everybody. No idea what to expect this weekend in terms of what's going to happen on track, off track. We know exactly what's going to happen. We know exactly where we'll be eating pizzas, eating burgers, and a visit to Steve's Old Time Tap.
100%. Yes, that exactly. So yeah, a little break for me as well. Like obviously Rock Island this weekend, and I think I'm actually off for, I want to say 4 weekends, which is great. But then, of course, we pitch a tent at Newcastle Motorsports Park in October. You'll be there for the USPKS race. You'll head home. I'll come into town for their endurance race that they're having. And then, David, I know it's not really on the next month, but you and I essentially back behind the wheel for what could be, or is going to be, the biggest Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals ever, maybe one of the biggest races of the year. I won't even hazard to guess how many entries they're going to have this year, but the Briggs 206 World coming together mid-October back at Newcastle again.
Yeah, I'm not going to guess that, but we do know with the announcement over the weekend, they're going to be doing night racing both Friday and Saturday. So that's going to be the interesting side of things. How do you light up Newcastle Motorsports Park in the middle of October? Hopefully not with snow, hopefully with lights.
We all have to have headlights and snowplows on the front of the carts.
Yes, exactly.
My goodness. Well, folks, there you go. That wraps things up for this edition of the Debrief. David, of course, kind of wrapping up all his coverage from the U.S. Trophy Final. He did a tremendous job all weekend long. Like I said, I was wherever you were. If you weren't trackside, you're probably like me. I was just scrolling through in the breaks I had, and obviously watching all the videos and the Victory Lane interviews, which I always love, and then the Victory Lane videos coming out of the scale house, the interviews with the drivers. David did a fantastic job there, and we'll be back at it again this coming weekend at Rock Island for yet another trip to the Grand Prix. David's been there 19 times. I'm going back after an 8-year absence, so I'm looking forward to getting back to Rock Island as well before we start a little bit of a break through September, because there's lots of stuff still happening when we get to October, November, and December. Thanks again, folks, for listening to this edition of the Debrief. I do appreciate it. On behalf of David Cole, my name is Rob Howden.